Hello and welcome back to my series of podcasts about people with purpose. On today's episode, I'm joined by Paula Doyle, a consultant for one-to-one diet based in Bexhill, which is in East Sussex, but she also works regularly with clients in Rochester in Kent. Paula specialises in helping people create the best version of themselves through healthy lifestyle and diet. From her own experiences, Paula's purpose is very much focused on honesty and helping others to live their own lives and not keep the yo-yo dieting. Ultimately, it's about helping you achieve long-term, healthy and happy lifestyles. Obviously, it's quite topical at the moment because it's that time of year when a lot of people have been overindulging, and it's, people are setting goals for the future and the new year. So this should be quite an interesting one and useful to many of you. So welcome, Paula. It's lovely to have you on, and I'm really keen to hear what you have to say about all of this fitness malarkey. But how are you feeling today?
Oh, thanks for having me on, Graham. No, I'm feeling really good today. Thank you.
Brilliant. I mean, it's that time of year. We're all doing it. We've all done it. It's time to crack on with the new year, a new healthy and fitter. But a lot of people obviously fall off the wagon. But this is why there's people like yourself to help them. So for people listening, just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into it, what drives you. Just tell us a bit more about Paula and what you do.
Hi. Well, really, I suffered with diabetes type 2. I was diagnosed with that, and I had quite a lot of medication to have to take for it. It was gradually climbing up. My levels got to 98.
Wow.
And I thought I need to do something. And then when they started putting me on the blood pressure tablets with the heart, I thought I really have got to do something now because of my grandchildren. I'm not going to be around to see them. So I literally just bumped into a friend of mine, and she'd
Mhm.
lost over 5 stone. And I was like, wow, how did you do that? And she was saying, well, it's one-to-one diet. And I thought, oh, here we go, another fad diet. I've been and done them all, and failed miserably at most of them. And she was going, no, this is different. Just give it a go. So I thought, oh, all right, I can't lose nothing, so I'll have a go at it. And I was so surprised by one, how easy it was. Two, how I felt so much better within the first week. I literally, I've lost 4.5 stone now. So I'm
Wow.
now 10 stone. And I went to have my diabetes check at the doctor's, and I'm now 42. So I've actually gone under the diabetes type 2 level. But obviously, we only get checked every year now. So I've got to wait till next year, before I can say that I've, reversed the diabetes. But that is my main aim. And I just sort of, because it was so good, and I was learning about food as you gradually went along, I thought, this is really a hidden gem, and there's probably loads of people like me that have tried the diets over the years
Yeah.
and thought, well, I really need to do something different. I'm not one to go to the gym because I'm not one of these gym bunnies. I'm not. I don't look well. Probably do look better now, but at the time I wouldn't have looked very good in lycra. So, so yeah, so it was like, well, I'm not going to be doing the gym. So I actually trained to be a consultant because I was so impressed with it. So now I just want to help other people. I want to help other people that are having difficulties that are the same as me, and that they've been down that road of trying all the different diets, and yeah, they all work in a certain way, but then you sort of get a bit despondent, then you don't want to do it, and then the weight piles on, and then you add some more on, and you just get in that cycle the whole time. Whereas with this one, it teaches you, so about different foods. How calorific vegetables were, for instance. I mean, that was a big thing. It's a big joke in our family. I never thought that carrots were calorific. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just crazy. So, I thought, well, that's what was different. And it's backed up by doctors as well. So, like with me, my main worry was because of the medication I'm on. But we actually put it into a computer system, and a board of doctors will then approve whether that person is okay to go on the diet and what step they can start, because we've got 5 different steps. So depending on how much you want to lose, if it's if it's a stone because you want to get in that wedding dress next year, hopefully, fingers crossed, or you just generally need to do something for your health and for you. So there's a step for everybody.
That's brilliant. I'm sorry, I just have to go back to that. You were 98 for your diabetes, and now you're 40,
Two,
42.
42.
So
Yeah.
okay, obviously not official, but that has effectively reversed type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I can't officially say that because I've got to wait for next year's test. But the way I look at it is, if my pancreas wasn't working, it wouldn't be at 42. It would still be
That's
at
amazing.
98. So for
Yeah,
me, I've done it.
that's truly amazing. And type 2 diabetes, I mean, I do know about it, but somebody might be listening, they might not understand what type 2 is. Can you just what
Yeah,
is your version of it, so to speak?
yeah. Type 2 is obviously you've got a high level of sugar within the blood. So normally, depending on how bad you are as to what medication you put on, I was put on metformin, and I was having 8 a day. Then I had to have another tablet on top of that because it was 98 and the metformin wasn't doing its job to get the level down. So it was gradually getting worse. And with diabetes, I mean, the doctor explained it to me, which was quite an easy way of understanding. If you've got your organs and they're covered in a layer of fat, so if you said for the heart, for easiness, a
Yeah,
heart will be beating, it will be pulsating. If it's surrounded by fat, it cannot pulsate to the level that it should be.
sure.
So hence the pancreas can't work as good as it can. So that's why they associate a lot of the type 2 to weight issues, because that's normally suffocating the pancreas. So therefore it can't work efficiently. So therefore your blood sugar levels go up, or down, whichever way. So until you remove the fat from the organs, they can then start pulsating and they can then start working properly again. So for me, as I say, because I've now got a reading of 42, for me, I'm quite sure within myself that if I hadn't reversed it, it would still be at 98, or it would still be at a high level. But obviously, losing the 4.5 stone has brought me down to the level that, well, below the level. So, yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I can actually physically say next year that I've reversed
Brilliant.
it.
That's amazing. I know because I know a little bit about, so it's visceral fat, I think it's called, isn't
Mm.
it? When it
Yeah.
surrounds the organs and stuff, and that's a huge impact on diabetes and things like that. But that's you have to be very proud of yourself to sort of to achieve that. I mean, that's amazing.
More so for the fact of, I've come off the majority of the tablets. So hopefully next year I can not have any of them. And with a bit of luck, that would have sorted out the blood pressure as well. So, this time next year could be the big celebration. But for now, I've gone from a size 20 in clothes to a size 12. So I can now wear the smaller pretty things rather than feeling I've got to cover up the layers of fat sort of thing, to hide it. Which is, what you do when you're overweight. You tend to wear flowy stuff to hide it, to make you not look so big. But yeah, it changes your whole mental well-being as well.
That was actually nicely led into my question, is how has that affected your sort of your, because I understand a lot of time a lot of weight problems can be linked to the fact that it's mental eating. People feel that they
Mm.
need to eat for whatever reasons, and it's a vast subject we're not going to have covered today. But in short, how has it affected you? Obviously it's more positive, your confidence. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. You myself, I just feel I was always quite a confident, gobby person anyway. To be fair, most people will say that if that know me. But I just feel so good. I just feel so much better in myself. I don't feel so sluggish. I was just lethargic and everything was like, oh, I can't be bothered. And you don't realize how much the food is associated with, your mental health, really, because if you have any drama in your life, you normally turn to having a fag, having a drink, or food. And I was all three. at one point. So I gave up smoking 2 years ago in November. So that was the first thing. That was tick box. I don't really drink much now anyway. And once I was diagnosed with diabetes, that sort of put that on the mockers anyway. So it was just left with the food. And you just can't help it. If you've got that association with food and you just you just feel so much better when you've eaten, it's hard to get through to someone to sort of say, look, it's that's actually making you feel like that, and that's giving you these symptoms. I'll be the first one to say, oh yeah, right, whatever, just pull the other one sort of thing. But honestly, I just feel so much better. I took the dog for a walk the other day, and I only go around the block with him. He's only a little baby, and I literally, before, I was huffing and puffing. By the time I got home, I had to have my asthma pumped because I was out of breath. And I walked the dog. I came in, put the lead up, put the kettle on for a cup of tea, and then all of a sudden I thought, I ain't out of breath. All of a sudden, it just dawned on me, I'm not out of breath. I'm not sweating where I've got so hot. And it wasn't until I did that I sort of suddenly realised and thought, well, actually, perhaps this is quite a good thing, me not being 4.5 stone heavier then, because I'm only
Yeah.
5 foot tall, so that don't help.
Crikey, that's amazing. I mean, was the weight, I know this could be sensitive, but was the weight put on over a long period of time? Was it just like your lifestyle stresses and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, it was over. I mean, I'm 53 now, and I would say I've had a weight issue definitely from my sort of 16, 17-year-old. It just, I haven't been as bad as what I was. I'd sort of fluctuate and sort of put 2 stone on, 2 stone off, and in between all these
Yeah.
other diets. But I must say, this time I was the biggest I'd ever been, and I thought this now is where I'm going to have to do something about it. I've got to do something now. And for being a size 20, I've only ever been a size 18, even at my largest. So for me to be going into 20s, it was like, well, hang on, I've got to do something now. But I've got to pull up the big girl pants and sort myself out.
That's a really, I just want to touch on that point because it's something that I see or hear a lot, where somebody would say that there's something happened that caused me to, right, that's it, I now need to do this. It has to happen, do or die, pardon the expression, but it needs to happen. What was that for you? Because I think it's different for everybody, but I know so many people that ask, what is it? What is it that gives you that drive? So what is it for you? What was the driving force that made you go, you wake up on a day and go, right, that's it, life's got to change?
I think it was the fact of my granddaughter. I I just want to be so involved with her. So for me, it was like I went down the park with her in the summer once we'd come off a lockdown, and we just literally went down to the park. That was it, and then I came home again. But it just highlighted to me how I want to be that nana that's like running around like a lunatic with the grandchildren, and I just couldn't do it. I
Mm,
really just couldn't do it, and I thought I can't do this because I'm not going to see her grow up. I'm not going to see her get married, and all of those like bad thoughts go through your head, and you automatically think, "Ah, I just need to sort it now." But I think everybody's journey is different.
yeah.
I think you've just got to get to a point. As I say, you will turn to something. Some people, gambles. It's an addiction.
Mm,
And I think once you understand that addiction and you can try and unravel it and sort of dissect it and go, right, okay, well, this is why that happened, and that's why you did that. You're halfway there to changing your mindset.
I think it always goes back to that thing that we hear quite often is finding your reason why. You found your reason why, and then by circumstance you bumped into your friend, and then that became the sort of the mechanism to actually carry you through that. But I think it's that reason why is the first and foremost thing, isn't it? That's the key thing.
Definitely.
I mean, this is the one-to-one diet. Is it is it a self-employed business, or it's part of an organization? How does it work?
Yeah, you are self-employed and you work underneath the brand. You have to do training, you have to take exams. I've just literally passed another exam so that I can actually create my own team now. So that's excited me even more, because then it's like, well, people that, unfortunately in these times, if they're being made, redundant or unemployed, this is another avenue. Or for mums that can work around kids, you know, or if you're fully employed and you want something that's just going to top you up a little bit, so it was like, well, okay, so I can help people with their diet issues, and now I can help people earn some money if that's the way that they want to go down as well. But I think when someone starts it, then they realize, you know what an opportunity it is, and it's a very good company to work under. They're
Mhm.
very tight on their branding. It has to be done a certain way, but we've just got the backing of them all the whole
Mhm.
time. So you don't really feel like you're self-employed, because there's so many people there to help you. I mean, well, I've got a sponsor, and I've also got a sort of like the next manager up, and I was round there, going through the test with her, over the kitchen table. That sort of family orientated, but it's on a bigger scale. But you just get the support, and I think that's the biggest thing, is having someone there to support you, where you're just one person, one on one, and you haven't got to sit in a room with other strangers. And for me, I felt a little bit humiliated. If I hadn't lost weight that week, I just sort of sat there dreading, for my name to be called out, in front of everybody. Whereas this is, it's personal, it's one to one. No one will ever see you or your weight issues or your targets or anything like that. It will only ever be me. And I
Mm.
think that's what I found really reassuring, that I only had my consultant. I was never felt to be embarrassed about anything. When I'd had a little blip, it didn't matter. She was there saying, "Well, let's figure out what happened." And by talking, just generally, it sort of became apparent of, "Oh God, yeah, I had that, didn't I?" And I hadn't counted it. So it is a good company to work for.
Brilliant. And you said that it's like a one-to-one service, so that I can see that appealing to a lot of people, especially if they're struggling. But how does it work? And I understand there's products, but do you sort of, you offer advice, and sort of it's about the lifestyle as much as it is the sort of the foods and the diets that you're sort of talking about? You just sort of tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it is product based, but we've got different steps. So there's 5 different steps.
Yeah.
So depending on your journey and what you want to do, and obviously financial, is to how many products you have a day. I did a step 2, which was 3 products a day, and then you'd have a 200-calorie meal as well as. And then you literally go up the steps, so you're given more calories, more foods that you can eat. And the products, they basically are all around about 200 calories. So it doesn't matter whether you're having porridge, shakes, smoothies, chocolate bars. We've got these fava beans. We've got chicken curry, macaroni cheese. So you're not limited to stuff where you think, oh, I'm bored with that. There's always new products. There's always new stuff for people to have. And that's what I found was quite easy as well, because you don't have to worry about it. You know that each thing's 200 calories.
Hmm.
It's like with the porridge, it's add hot water, put it in the microwave. In a minute, you've got your breakfast. Soups, you can do them in a cup. So put the kettle on, and that's your lunch. Yeah, I mean, the good thing is obviously with the different products, but you also get the weekly call with me. So obviously with the climate at the moment, we're doing a lot of Zoom calls. So I will call you a couple of days before, find out what products you want for the week. I then bag them up, because we have to do that 48 hours before we deliver, because of obviously infections, etc. And then also we then go and deliver them to somebody's house. And then we do the Zoom call to sort of say how you doing, what's your weight this week. I mean, I've got one lady who doesn't want to know what her weight is. So I literally turn up at her house and I stand in her garden with the scales. So I look at the scale, she jumps on and then she jumps off and then disappears. But there's ways around everything.
Yeah.
And obviously once we get back to face, that'd be even better. But yeah, I go mobile, so I go out to people. I've also got my own little office that people can come to if they want to.
That's interesting that you mentioned that. Just touch on a point there. How long have you been the consultant then? How long have you been doing this?
I've only been a consultant since August.
Right. So you
So
stopped.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm very new kid off the block. So yeah, there's people there that have been there for 20 or 30 odd years, because it used to be just the Cambridge weight plan, which was,
Right.
I believe, just shakes and soups at the time. So it's been around for a long time, 30, 35, 36 years, something like that. So it's a long standing company. But yeah, there's as I say, women there that have been there for years and years, and you got loads of incentives and things like that as well, if that's what you want to do. I'm not that sort of person, but you can win holidays. My manager's going to Marbella, I think, next year.
Brilliant.
There's a Vegas thing, I think, for next year, if for those that get there. And so there's loads of incentives like that, but it just really depends on what you want to achieve, really.
I know these sometimes these kind of businesses get a lot of criticism from from the media and say, oh, it's all of this and all of that. But this particular business has been around a very long time. Do you have to deal with that? Have you had any kind of comments about, oh, it's just one of those other schemes? I mean, you said it yourself. You
Yeah.
were initially like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was the first person to go, oh yeah, whatever, another fad, and then when Heidi said to me, no, it used to be the Cambridge, and I was like, oh, hang on, I remember that. And she said, just go and look at one of the training things, and I literally did. I just signed on and watched through the training, and it was really enlightening, where people were they were explaining more about it, more detail, and the reasons why it works.
Mm.
And it was at that point the penny dropped, and I thought, do you know what? These people were onto something. They know their stuff. They really have looked into everything. All the products have got the right minerals and vitamins and all that in them. So they've thought about that side of it as well. So at that point, it was just like, this is a no-brainer. I know how it's helped me.
Mm.
But the biggest thing for me was, well, there's got to be other people out there that are like me, that have gone, do you know what? That's a load of rubbish, or that didn't work, this didn't work. I was one of those people. And
Mm.
if I could have made an excuse of a reason of why I was doing what I was doing to myself, and why I was eating what I was eating, and all the rest of it, and secret eating when no one knew that you'd had something to eat, and you'd go out in the kitchen and you'd be shoving something in your gob a bit quick, things like that, until you sort of come out of that, and then you look back and you think, oh God, what was I doing? But if I can help people, that's the main thing for me. If I can help other people that have struggled like I have throughout their life, and they just need someone there to champion them, someone to be their cheerleader, that's all I want to do. Just the pleasure that you get from seeing someone achieve where they want to be is second to none. That's the big thing for me.
I agree. It's such a cathartic experience, isn't it? When you start helping others through your own journey, it almost helps you as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the, that's the biggest buzz for me. Is I mean, when I sort of went to a lady this week, and she'd lost a stone and a half, and you just see the difference in them from when you first went, and they was me. They was tired. They've got bags under their eyes, and they're just, everything is just too much. And then all of a sudden, you go back and you see them, and they're so much better. The black rings have gone. They're happier in themselves. They're having a bit of a laugh and a joke, and or they'll tell you, oh, I actually got into a skirt that I haven't been in for 2 years, and you just see the buzz in them, and you think, do you know what? It's a pleasure to do my job, really.
Do you find that there's times when that it's more to do with the actual mental side? I mean, how do you deal with that? Because obviously it's a product based and there's a program that you go through, but I'm sure a lot of people and even your own experiences, it's that cycle. They might be having some mental issues
Mm.
that are causing them to eat. Is that? I mean, do you
Yeah,
come
I mean
across that?
that there's hundreds of thousands of people out there that are like that, and you do feel, I feel sorry for them because I've been there. I've gone through that, and I know what it's like, and it plays on your mental health, because then you don't want to go places, you don't want to, I mean, I didn't want to wear anything that was sort of like exposing my arms, for instance. I wouldn't wear skirts because I thought my legs were too fat. And you just get it in your head, that people are thinking that about you, when really they're probably not even, it's not even registering with them, but you think that's what's wrong. you
Mm,
you think everybody else is looking at you and thinking those thoughts. You do get depressed. There's no two ways about it. I was put on antidepressants. You don't realize at the time when you're in it. It's not until you come out of it that you actually realize how you was probably suffering with your mental health throughout it. So for me, having the one-to-one with that consultant, having the regular text messages, if you saw something, or if it was a birthday, or you knew that some sort of anniversary was coming up, or things like that, and then you're giving them permission to, it's okay. You can go out and have a meal. You can go out and enjoy yourself for your birthday, and then just get straight back on it again tomorrow, because everybody's got to have a life. And if anyone's out there saying to you, no, you can't do that, this isn't, you are going to just go back to your old ways. And that's the main thing that makes you want to eat. For me, it's that constant support from
mm,
from your consultant, not just me, any of the one-to-one consultants out there. That's the biggest thing, is that we support people. We make sure they're okay. We're at the end of a phone if they're in any problems, if they've got issues with stuff. I mean, we've got recipes. If people want to make certain meals, I think there's about 200 different recipes, which one of the other consultants has actually devised and allowed all us other consultants to use. So that's the sort of community that you're in. And it literally is. You end up being part of something. And when you've got the issues of your weight, and all of a sudden you feel part of something, and you've got someone there that's got your back, then you're more likely to succeed,
mm.
because you're getting the care, if you like.
I like that. I like the idea that you get sort of one-to-one support, but you're also part of a bigger picture where there's everybody's been through it. Is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, most of the consultants, if not all of them, have been on the plan and have had these issues at some point in their life.
I think having that community around. I mean, this is from my own experiences, especially around mental health. As when you're in a community of people that have been through something similar, the judgment goes, and you can start to open up. And then when you open up, it becomes easier. You start forming new habits. I mean, I'm guessing that you help people with their habits, because obviously that's a big thing, especially with eating.
Yeah, I mean, that's a major part, is breaking the habits. But
Mm,
it's creating. So, for instance, if someone's like myself, 9 o'clock at night, I'll be sitting down in front of the telly and I'll be thinking, right, I'm now going to shove something in my gob. So it would either be, I'd start off really well and I'd think, oh, I'll have an apple. Then I think, oh, that hasn't, so I'll have a banana as well. And then I'll sit there and I think, oh, that hasn't worked. So then I'll have a packet of crisps. And then that didn't happen either. So then I'll be going out into the fridge and I'll be rummaging around for a chocolate bar. And then before I knew it, I'd probably had 600-700 calories while I
mm,
was sitting there between 9 and 10 at night. Now I change those things. So like we've got as I say, these favour beans, and they're like 100 calories per pack. So if I'm wanting something savoury, I'll eat that. We've got chocolate bars of about 10 different flavours. They're 200 calories. So I might have one of those. So I'm replacing it. Even though you've got that habit, you're changing the foods that you're putting in, and that's literally all it is. It's just changing different choices. So instead of having, like me, I'd have a whole big bar of dairy milk, for instance, and that would be sort of like 500-600 calories in one go.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're replacing it with some fava beans, for instance, or one of our chocolate bars, there's 300 calories. So you've halved the calories that you put in your gob, what you would normally would.
In a way, it's you're not changing, which is actually a really difficult thing to do, to change a habit. You're taking the habit and adapting it so that, yeah, the habit form is still there, but helping them make the right choices about what actually they are doing.
Yeah, and then in the end, now I don't even think about it. Now, I'll sit here and I'll be watching telly, and I very rarely have anything now.
Yeah.
But it's
It,
only because you feel fulfilled with the food that you've had during the day, so you don't feel you want it of a night time.
it's still a quite it is a difficult thing still to sort of do, and I know from my own experiences when I lost quite a lot of weight, not I did it myself, but it was that I now don't drink very much, but it was forming different habits. So I would still do something, I'd still reach for that drink, but I'd have water or I'd have something else, and it sort of forms from there. So that's really, really interesting. Obviously, we kind of touched on what the last sort of few months have been like. We've had the sort of the lockdown and things like that. What can you help people with right now? What sort of words of advice, what tips can you give today that will help people, especially this time of year with all the overindulgence and things like that?
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing for me is if you are really struggling and you're looking at things and you're thinking, okay, I am that person, I am overweight, I am starting to have medication or things like that. It's look at what you're doing within yourself. So if you look at what you do during a day, for instance, so do you drink much water? The biggest thing for a lot of people is that they don't drink water. I personally don't like the taste of it, but we have this powder stuff that you can put in it and it changes just like a squash. But if you are not having the right amount of water, it's unbelievable what water does to your body. Beforehand, I'd be like, yeah, right, whatever. But honestly, water is really, really important. So if you are having 2.25 litres of water a day, what that does is it flushes out toxins within your body, but it's your body's messages. A lot of the time, you think that you're hungry. Your body's going, "I'm starving," when actually it's going, "Actually, I'm dehydrated, mate. Can you just put some water in?" And I think that's the biggest thing with a lot of people. If they make sure that they have 2.25 litres of water a day, they'll notice a difference, especially with their skin and stuff like that, especially for us women that are a little bit vain and stuff. But that's one of the things. But if you look at what you're actually eating during the day, and then you look at why you're eating it, all the things sort of start to fall into place, and you think, well, actually, I don't really need that, and I don't really need that, and this is a habit that I do. Once you've done that, you're halfway there because you've already established what your issues are.
Mhm.
And then for someone like me, that's lovely because we can then go in and go, right, okay, so you've got these problems, you've got these issues. So let's look at it in a different way. Let's see what we can change round. So if you're eating something like myself with the dairy milk, exchange that for something else that you know is going to be less calories. That straight away, your brain is saying, happy days. I've cut that out already. So you're already improving on what you would normally have been like before. And then
Mhm.
before you know it, you've broken that cycle and that habit. And then in the end, over a period of time, you don't want to do that anymore. You don't even think about it anymore. But if you tell someone now and say, right, well, you can't have that and you can't have that, you can't eat after 5, and you go through all this regimented stuff, people are just going to go, no. And they're just going to revert back to what they were before. But if you were asking them to do something different, so they're still doing the same thing, but just use different stuff, you're more likely to see a difference. So that's without going on any weight plan or anything, just those little things can improve them straight away.
I've heard that so many times, that the idea of actually just kind of making a note of what you're eating, food diaries and things like that. Is that something that you sort of, is that kind of what you're saying, or
Yeah, I mean, we do food diaries for people, and that does help, especially in the first sort of month, because you're getting to learn about yourself more so than anything. And then you've got the evidence there. You can look back and go, yeah, well, Tuesday was a bit of a crap day, and I shouldn't have really ate that, and that's where I've gone wrong. And then the next week, that you can't have a Tuesday like last Tuesday, because you're just going to end up back where you was before. But that's my job. That's my job to say, look, come on, let's have a look at this. Stop beating yourself up about it. Tuesday happened. There's no point worrying about it now. It's happened. It's gone. It's finished. Move on. Take that mental health issue away, because that's the thing that's going to defeat you if you keep beating yourself up about it.
I think that's fair in all things of life. When things go wrong or anything like that. I mean, that's kind of what I believe in. It's almost a stoic kind of philosophy. Just sort of look, that's happened because it's how happened. I can't control it or change it, but I can move forward and do something about it next time, or prevent it from happening again. I'm guessing that's how you support on a one-to-one basis. That's what you're there for, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. That I'm just there to help people on their journey, because that's what I love. I love to see. It is really the best part of my job.
I mean, this is always a tricky question, because it could be sort of personal, but have you got any sort of stories that you can share, like anybody that's recently you've helped with, and how they reacted to that? What's something that you've seen that's been, wow, I've seen somebody transform?
Yeah, and the lady that I saw this week, she'd been really struggling, and personal sides as well. So she really had been very, very down. And then when I went to her this week, and she was just a different person, and it was just so lovely to see. Although the issues are still there, she was able to deal with them differently.
Yeah.
Then and that if I could bottle that and sell it, I'd be a millionairess. It is lovely. That is really the best bit of my job.
Yeah, seeing that, the difference that you're making. And it's kind of what I said right at the beginning about it's a cathartic experience, because it helps you, it drives you forward, because you know that you're helping someone, you want to do it even more,
Yeah.
and it feeds itself.
Yeah, it's not about me, it's more about them. It's more about, you sort of look at them and you think, God, they're just so different now. And you sort of look at them and think, oh, they you come out smiling because they're smiling.
Mm.
Um that it is lovely. It is lovely to see people change, and just become so much more happier.
Yeah, which is what this is all about, really. Help happier and healthier is the way to look at it, isn't it? So what's next for you, Paula? You're running this, you're being successful, you're helping people. Where do you see this going? You talked about that you were perhaps going to build a team. What's the future hold?
Yeah, so next, or this year, should I say, I'm looking to build a team. So anybody that wants to earn some extra money, etc. So I really want to get a team of 10 if I can. They'll obviously have their own teams as well, if they choose to go down that route as well. But for me, it's almost like it's giving me a buzz of thinking, well, okay, so I can help so many people, but how can I get out even more so to help other people, which is by getting other people to join my team. So
Mhm.
then if they all have 10 people as well, then that's 100 people that theoretically I've managed to help, because it is a little gem that's not really out there. They do publicise on the television. There's been a few TV and radio ads, which they do for us. You know, we don't have to pay for that. Head office do that. You know, until it sort of gets out in the wide area and people see more consultants. You know, I just want to get it out to as many people as possible, because you know there's so many millions of people out there. I mean, we had statistics come through, and it was 70% of people are either obese or overweight in the UK, and that was like a real, oh my god. You know, didn't think it, you know, yeah, all right. I knew there was a few of us fatties out there. You know, that was my idea behind it, but I didn't realise there was so many that I could help. You know, and it's just like, do you know what? That's my mission. You know, it's not all about money. It's about helping other people.
I couldn't agree more. It's a tough subject because it's such a wide subject, should I say. You know, we've got issues with food labeling because it's so difficult to sort of know what nutritional value food's got. You know, I went into the garage just to get some fuel the other day, and I remember consciously thinking, there's nothing in here, nothing in the garage that's actually healthy. It's all sugar. Everything's got sugar in it. And, you know, with diabetes on the increase, I'm sure you're seeing the same thing.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realise that the amount of carbs that turn into sugar. So even when you're going into like garages like, and you think, oh, I'll have a pasta. Well, that pasta might be just as bad as you having a sandwich. You know, yes, it might make you feel fuller for longer, but that's about all it's going to do. It is all about choices. But yeah, I do agree with you. The food packaging is a big thing. Once they brought the traffic light system in, that's helped enormously. But we're just so far behind. We really have got a long way to go. But it's like everything in life, you know. If you're going to eat loads of stuff that is wrong for you, then that's what's going to happen.
Mhm.
There's nothing you can do about that. It's one of those things. It's, you know, it's human nature. All we can do is have the knowledge to then have something that is healthier,
Yeah.
and have different choices. That's all it's about. Is just make different choices. You can still have all the enjoyment, but you know, you just look at it and think, okay, well, that one's, you know, it's like we had one of our consultants. They put across all the different like fancy coffees that you get at the moment. So like you've got all the ones with the syrup and all that in for the
Mhm.
festive periods and things like that. And it literally went from something that was like 96 grams of sugar in one of them. And I just, you know, I don't normally plug people, but the Golden Arches, they was at the end of it, and they was less sugar in theirs than any of the others.
There you go.
Now that was a real big like, oh, the Golden Arches have sussed something here, and they're changing what they're doing. And I think if they change, then I think a lot more of the big corporate companies will change.
I mean, I don't put sugar in anything because it's in everything else anyway. But
Yeah,
I don't like sugar in my coffee anyway. In fact, I don't. It's black, no sugar, no milk. That's how I take it. But I get that. You know, the amount of syrups and creams and things can go. You've got one coffee could be a full meal in terms of calorie intake.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, I know that. I've, but there's nothing to stop for it from being a treat now and again, though. I will say
Exactly,
that.
exactly. It's all about your choices.
Excellent. So, in terms of working with you, how do we find you? You know, what's the best way to contact Paula and have a chat and figure out if this is the thing for them?
Well, I'm on Facebook, so you can find me under Paula My Diet Lady,
Mhm.
or you can email me paulamydietlady@gmail.com.
So, just sort of, I know this is a thing that I come across when people want to. There's always a fear factor when contacting someone. You know, it's that sort of, I don't want to contact Graham to take my pictures because I don't know what to expect next. So that's my question for you is, so if I'm thinking about it and then I email you, what happens next? How does it work? How do you take people through the process?
Well, I will literally come back to you. I will contact you, and then we'll have a little chat over the phone. I'll find out whether you've got any ailments, etc. If you're on any medication, because that's most important,
Mm.
to make sure of what step and etc. And then I will then arrange a consultation with you, um, because I need to be able to put that into the system to make sure with the doctors as to what level that you would be allowed to go on. Then I would come round, we'd have a chat, I'd go through all the plans with you, discuss obviously what to do, how to do it, what my role will be, and then literally the person will choose their products, and then I will deliver them, and then they'll get started. Um, I like to keep in contact with them anyway, so I'm very much on the ball, sort of saying, how's it going today? Is it a bit, have you got anything that you're worried about? If you're going anywhere, if they're going out somewhere and they think, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get around this, and I'll be like, right, okay, well, if there's this there, that there, this there, have that, and then at least you feel that you're in part of it, but you're not having the masses of the calories going in. So you know that's what I'm there for. I'm there to help them, so I will literally come back the next week. We'll have a little weigh in. I do a measurement thing, so we have ribbon and things like that they can start with, and then we literally just cut a bit off the ribbon every time, and then they literally see with the ribbon, I'm giving them a piece of ribbon back, so, well, you've just lost that. It's like the weight side of things. I give them like these little magnets and things like that with, like, superstar and things like that on, and certificates to say, well done, you've just lost 6 pound or whatever. I think just those little things that just make people want to do it and want to achieve, and makes it a bit more fun.
Yeah, that's a really good point. When something's fun and you're enjoying it, then you're more inclined to stick with it and make those right choices. And knowing that every now and again, I am going to have a slice of cake and enjoy it and not worry about it, because I know that that's life. It just happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you don't want someone telling you off, and I'm a bit on the nutty side, so they'll get me.
Yeah.
I'm going to make them laugh, and I'm going to be there with them on their journey, and I just want to make them succeed.
Yeah. I don't think I'd want you telling me off, to be fair.
Oh, I'm a
Although you've been very nice today, I'm sure you can be quite scared. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. Of course I am. That's brilliant. I really enjoy. It's really fascinating listening to you and learning about what you do and how the people that you're helping. If you've got anything sort of final thoughts before we wrap up, anything anybody want to thank, if you any final words of wisdom from Paula.
My thank yous are really for Heidi Mortlock, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have found the one-to-one. I wouldn't have been brave enough to go on the internet and put my postcode in on our website. So I will be eternally grateful to her, because she has changed my life. And that's all what I want to do for other people. So if you're out there now and you're thinking, oh, I don't know, shall I, shan't I? Ping me an email and we'll have a chat. It's not frightening. I'm not frightening. I'm a bit on the nutty side, so I will put you at ease anyway. So, just make that call. Do that email. Just do it. Just do it now.
I'm guessing that there's no pressure from it at all. You could have a chat with you and you think, actually, this isn't for me, and
Yeah.
there's no drama.
There's no pressure from me at all, because people have got to want to do it. And there's what's the point? There's no point pressurizing people doing things like that. So
it has the opposite effect in most cases.
yeah,
it's very much the way I think about things. Anybody tries to pressure sell anything to me, then
that's it.
They go very,
the
very
bridge
quickly.
comes down. It's like end of, not happening.
Not going to work.
Yeah.
People buy from people, and that's the first and foremost thing that I believe in. It's why I do this. It's why I do these podcasts. It's all about people with a purpose and helping others. So yeah,
And
brilliant,
thank you for
absolutely
helping
brilliant.
me.
No, no problem at all. I mean, you know, as I've said to many of my guests, and just what I believe in anyway. If just one person watches this and thinks about what they're putting in their mouth, you know, looking at their habits, what they're eating, that little bit of advice about saying, you know, just doing that little noting down what you eat and then trying to substitute those things, and you know, finding your why. If we just help one person that sees this or listens to this, then it's been worth doing it, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. If we can change just one person, then, I've done my job. And so have you.
Well, that's brilliant. It's a great note to finish on, Paula. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed it, and it'd be nice to catch up again, you know, 6 months, a year's time, and just see how you're getting on, see how your team's coming on, and see how many other people that you've actually helped. So thanks again. It's been brilliant.
No, thank you.